Hello, I'm going to show you how to provision an EC2 instance with the BoltOps Pro EC2 CloudFormation Blueprint. This blueprint is quite flexible and configurable. You can configure pretty much any AWS EC2 instance property with the parameters here. And if you need more customization, you can even configure your own variables, okay? You can launch this EC2 instance into a custom VPC by specifying the VPC ID and subnet ID. You can also customize the user script and control the bootstrap process by configuring a variable called UserData script. Okay, I'll show you that once we go through this README. You can use an existing security group if you have one, or you can have the blueprint manage the security group for you and create it for you. You can actually modify that security group also. I'll show you that also. You can optionally add a Route 53 record and associate it with the DNS name of the EC2 instance. You can do the same thing with the IP. So quite flexible of a blueprint here. And this blueprint is useful for, let's say, one-off instances. You might want a Jenkins master running an EC2 instance, or you might want just a pet Daisy server that you are running. And that's what this is for. And this allows you at least to configure it in consistent and reproducible way. Okay, particularly across environments. To use this blueprint, you just add the blueprint to your gem file, you configure the config values, and then you deploy it. So those 3 steps, that's it. Let's read on to some more kind of details here, because this is pretty flexible, this blueprint. First one kind of covers in more detail the user data script. So how it works is you just open up your configs, and you configure this variable right here, user data script, and you point it to a path that exists on your file system. And what happens is this script then gets read in and then injected to the user data script that gets run whenever instances are launched. This script has access to pseudo parameters. So you could use pseudo parameters like AWS : stack name here as an example, but you have access to that. And this script runs at the very end of the bootstrap process, okay? So that's a pretty nice hook for you to customize this, the way this EC2 instance launches yourself. So this is pointing out the stack name convention here, this next section. You have to specify the blueprint name explicitly, because the stack name is usually probably going to be different than the blueprint name, okay? And then because of conventions, whatever the stack name is, you can actually create a corresponding config file, and those configs will be used. So it makes sense. You just want Daisy to use the Daisy configs, and you want Jenkins to use the Jenkins configs. Okay, so that spares you from typing out explicitly. Of course, you can always override that, and it's all covered in the Lono lookup configs documentation. Custom VPC, this is how you do it. You have to set subnet ID as well as VPC ID. Yeah, now you set one, you have to set both, okay? And it's actually, there's a comment in the blueprint that says it. Security groups, you can use the existing security group here, and this is how you set it. Or you could just, again, have the blueprint manage your own, manage the security group for you. If you want to have the blueprint manage the security group for you, you can even customize the ingress rules with this variable here. Here's an example just showing one ingress rule, but you can add multiple ingress rules, okay? Here's how you specify a larger volume size in case you need it. Here's how you specify a pretty Route 53 endpoint, and here's how you enable EIP, okay? So that pretty much covers a lot of details there about how you configure properties and config values. There's one additional thing that this README kind of covers, which is blueprint config sets. So this blueprint launches the EC2 instance, and then it uses something called config sets to then configure itself. Okay, and this blueprint comes with a couple config sets. These config sets are also available to a BoltOps Pro. Okay, so you can see which config sets are included with this EC2 instance blueprint. Centralized logging, that's already built in by default, and the CFN hub daemon config set. So this just allows you to, let's say if you add your own config sets down the road and you want to modify the instance, what this does is it's going to pull essentially CloudFormation every minute, and then it's going to detect that you've, when you update a stack, that you've made changes to the config set, and then we'll apply your config sets. So you can write your own config sets and customize it with that. And what are config sets? Well, config sets are essentially configuration management. It's just a lightweight version of it. That's kind of the A-bus version of it. So it's kind of like all those other configuration management tools like Chef, Puppet, Salt, Ansible, CFR engine. So CF engine. So these config sets are built into the blueprint. This config set, the SMS config set is also already configured by this blueprint. So basically that's how you kind of get access to the instance. You don't have to use SSH. You could use SMS Session Manager SSH, which gives you, I think, more security. Okay. Okay, and then here's just some notes about project config sets. So you can add your own config set. Here's the Jenkins config set if you want that. Or here's a config set to install Apache 2 web server and have that always running. Or here's a config set to install Ruby. Okay. Okay, now that pretty much covers the whole README. So now we're ready to jump in the demo. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab the line we need for the gem file. I'll paste it right here, and you'll notice that this already has this nice helper method to make this a little prettier. So that blueprint method does the exact same thing as this gem call. You can see up here. Okay, so I'm just gonna use the prettier version of it. Once you put that in, you just run bundle. Okay. Oh, and I'm gonna launch this EC2 instance on top of the reference architecture that's also in BoltOps Pro. You can use your own VPC. You can use the default VPC. It's all configurable, and you'll see. Okay, next step is the lonoc command. So I'm gonna run the lonoc command for development first here. And you can see it's materializing the config sets there. And now production. Okay, and while that's creating the configs for production, I'm just going to start exploring this. Okay, so this one is the development.txt params. Okay, and you can go in here and you can see that everything is optional. And all the parameters are grouped kind of by parameter group here. And the template is designed to group it like this to make it easier to understand how to configure it. So all these properties here are associated with the EC2 instance. This property is associated with the security group. This property is associated with the EIP address. And this property is associated with the pretty Route 53 record endpoint. So for this demo, I'm actually going to go ahead and configure the subnets and the VPC. And you can see that there's a comment here: require VPC ID set. Require here also if subnet ID is set. So if you set one, you have to set both of them, or else you're going to launch the instance in a different VPC, and the security group is creating a different VPC, and it won't work. Okay, so make sure you set both if you set one of those. I'm going to grab these values. I've already provisioned the VPC, the reference architecture one. I'm just go to outputs and grab the subnet ID. And I just need one subnet, so I'm going to launch this instance. I guess I'll just launch it in the usually instances like to launch a private app subnets. So right here. And grab one of those, configure the subnet ID, and then I grab the VPC ID, and this is the development count you can see up here. So this is all for development. Okay, so development set, at least params. Let's see what's in here. Here, there's a tag, okay? So tags are configured, on the EC2 instance tag is configured here too. The reason tags are configured here is because if you're using a variable, you can actually apply multiple tags. All right, onto the template. So that's a pretty nice way of doing it. Look, you can also do things like override, manage IMA policies, or IMA policies associated with IMA row created and associated with this instance. You can configure basically even more properties on the EC2 instance here. You could configure a security group ingress rules and egress rules. You configure the block volume sizes here. So there's a lot of things you could do to configure this blueprint. Okay. All right, so that is done for development. Let's also check out production. I'm going to switch over to the production account. And here is VPC. Click on outputs, and then it has everything we need here. So I want, again, the private app subnets, and I'll just grab one, because that's all we need for this blueprint. Once you set subnet ID, you also have to set VPC ID, okay? Or else the stack will roll back. So make sure you set both. Okay, and here's the value for production, for the production VPC ID. So that looks good. Let me just double check production. This one looks good too. This looks good. This looks good. Okay, we are now ready to launch our EC2 instance, okay? So I'm just kind of configuring the bare minimum here. If you want, you can configure the user data script here too. Again, and point that. You have to create this file, and the contents of that file gets injected to user data script. Okay, so that's how you can achieve complete customization, right? On top of config sets. Let's go ahead and now deploy to both environments. And here I'm just gonna call the first, I guess, stack development and production. It's interesting because I think I will, yeah, let's just do it that way. Okay, we'll stick to this because I'm on multiple accounts, so we could actually name the stacks the same. But EC2 blueprints is essentially kind of all pets anyways. So it's creating the first one. Oops, I did not do the no wait option, so I'm going to have to wait until this completes. Instead of waiting, I'm going to actually start another terminal. And just going to run the second command right here, okay? The production one. So I'm going to launch the production one also. So I just did it in 2 separate terminals, that's all. Because I didn't want to wait till this finishes. Right now it's kind of polling and creating the stack. Okay, so what we're going to see is we're going to see EC2 production here, and then the other one EC2 development. And if I did not specify the stack name with production, I could just forego specifying the blueprint explicitly here, right? Because then the stack name matches the blueprint name. Anyway, I just did that way because I was just going along with the README here. But usually what you kind of do is you have like, you know, Jenkins, Daisy. This EC2 blueprint is really, you're launching a single EC2 instance. So to order to reuse it, you're really just creating a bunch of single servers. Okay, it's useful for like state, like if you have like, there's always gonna be once in a while one-off servers, and it's useful for that purpose. Anyway, so this is gonna take a little bit of time to create because the admin roles, security groups, and everything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and pause this so y'all don't have to wait. Okay, so both stacks have finished creating. You can see right here it took about 2 minutes or 3 minutes or so for production, and another 3 minutes or so for development. And you can also verify here. It just says create in progress. I just have to refresh. Now it's create complete. Refresh here too. And you can see also from here, start at 16:04 and finish 16:07. So about 3 minutes or so. That's development. Let's also confirm production. Production has also been set up. Okay, and it's all done. So I just want to show you also the instance on the EC2 console so you can see. So with kind of this setup and the way loaner layering works, you can specify different instance sizes and different properties for your development versus production instances. And I covered the README and I talked about how the config set up centralized logging for you already. So that's all been set up. It also set up Session Manager. I'll give you a quick demo of Session Manager right now. So you click connect to your instance like that. Just clicking up there and connect, and now we are in our instance. You see, just like that. The instance was just newly launched. Okay, and this is I think one way to secure access to your instances. And if you also have the Session Manager plugin, and I have there's another BoltOps Pro tool that actually sets this all up for you. It's the Session Manager CLI tool. That one is going to kind of set up some defaults for you and kind of set up everything. So then you could SSH into it via Session Manager. And again, the reason why Session Manager is really nice is you don't actually have to open up any ports in order to SSH into your machine. Check this out. There are, if you look at security groups here, there's 0 ports open, 0 ports whatsoever. But what happens is Session Manager creates a reverse tunnel from the server side, and then you could proxy in through that. Okay, so that pretty much covers at high level the EC2 CloudFormation blueprint here from BoltOps Pro and how you can configure it. Again, you can configure pretty much any detail here. The user data scripts is one way to use a bash script to just add more customization to your EC2 instance. And config sets is another quite powerful way to add more customizations. Like here's a config set that will install Jenkins for you and keep it running. And here's another config set that runs installs Ruby for you. And they're also all available BoltOps Pro. Okay, hopefully you found that helpful. Okay, you have a great day. Cheers.